it on KTN. Let's move on now. In the ODM primary in Machakos constituency of Mavoko, the Muthwani ward ended in total disarray without any vote tallying being done. But the returning officer there has declared Bob Nyambaka as the winner, despite protests from his rival Richard Masese, who claimed the ballot boxes had been stuffed in favor of Bob. Let's now take a look at some of the pictures from Machakos ODM primaries. All right, so we're still waiting for that footage from Machakos. That happened later in the evening when the numbers were being released in the evening. And of course, one of the aspirants started raising concerns, saying it was not a free and fair election. He gave allegations of ballot stuffing, and at some point there were complete chaos, and Murimi Mwangi was on the ground for us. So just before we run the clips for you to see what exactly happened in Machakos, allow me to bring in my colleague Murimi Mwangi, who was on the ground. Murimi, it was a beautiful day for you in Machakos until later on in the afternoon. So what exactly happened?
Well, that's true, Linda. There was consensus among the 4 aspirants or candidates that were contesting for the ODM ticket in the Muthwani ward, but at just 30 minutes into the counting of these votes, there was a complaint from one of the candidates, Masese, who was complaining that the ballot papers that were counted in favor of his competitor, Bob Nyambaka, seemed not to have been folded, and that was consistent. And he said that that ought to be investigated, and even if that meant opening up the ballot boxes to confirm if indeed that was true, he was willing to take that road. But the returning officer stopped the exercise for close to some 30 minutes as he waited for reinforcement of more police officers to beef up the security in that particular tallying center, because the crowd was becoming too much and the tensions were rising. But when that resumed the exercise of counting the votes, just 30 minutes into that exercise, Masese produced what he said was the evidence right from inside the ballot box. He produced a batch of ballot papers which he said had been put there, and those were not cast by voters. And that, of course, occasioned the chaos that were witnessed, leading to the firing of the shots and the throwing of stones by the supporters of the 2 candidates. Linda.
Murimi, that would be a good point to bring in that clip of what happened in Machakos. Could we take a look, please?
I do not understand the reason as to why you decided to hide the box. If you bring in 3 people to be an observer from every agent and they raise an issue, those people are not madmen and they don't need policemen to be taken up, right? If there is an issue that has been raised, you listen to them, you call the aspirants, we look at those papers, and we ascertain the reality. There's nothing to hide here. The evidence is here. Just open the box. We look at those votes. Votes are ours. We are the people who make a decision. So can we look at those votes? Simple and clear. If they belong to one individual and they are not folded, I mean, that is like black and white. You know?
I wish to say that the game has not been all that fair to all parties. And now, since we agreed that we proceed, can we kindly look for a solution so that we can move ahead? If the returning officer, you feel that we are not going to end anywhere, because what I hate is seeing chaos, people fighting for no reason. We can either we, the three aspirants, we can postpone the issue. Yeah, we can postpone the issue so that we can look for another day, we can hold the elections. Because from the morning, brother, the exercise has been not fair.
There is some votes that were there inside the ballot box that he said they are straight. And yet we can also witness the same votes in his ballot box which are very straight also. So that is not an issue to complain about. Because the ballot box they are very transparent, the agent was there, he witnessed, and even before opening, I asked the agent if there is any other issue maybe they are raising. Unfortunately, they said, it's okay. I had a go ahead. And now maybe because he is creating a lot of tension, he started to drink fuel.
Great, so that is what happened in the afternoon in Machakos. Murimi Mwangi, it's actually interesting that that happened and still a winner was declared.
Well, Orange House will have some explaining to do, Linda, particularly on the declaration of a candidate, despite there having not been a final tally in that particular tallying center. Secondly, the two candidates will have to explain the origin of that batch of votes that was found inside that ballot box as at the time of the tallying exercise, given that that was from the evidence presented by Masese from inside that particular ballot box, not votes cast by voters that participated in that particular exercise. And we expect more explanations from the ODM's disciplinary committee, which we understand has summoned the two leaders to appear there, of course, to shed some more light on exactly what happened here. But of course, most importantly, a candidate was declared the winner in that particular poll without there being any final tally. Linda.
Let's see how that goes. Like you mentioned, ODM has a lot of explaining to do. Murimi Mwangi, who was keeping an eye on